Hey Farah, so I just did this session with Sam this evening. Um, he's doing a lot better. He's just as far as healing, he's moving around pretty well, and his wounds are almost completely healed. We're just still watching one little spot, but um, mostly what I've been doing since the last time you saw Sam is just a lot of hanging out with him in the paddock again, and obviously spending a lot of time tending to his wounds. So the odd times that I've like done anything specifically have just been what you'll see tonight, which is mostly just occasional moments when he'll just start following me around a bit. So I can tell he's become much more bonded with me and is enjoying spending time with me quite a bit more. Um, and again, like previously, I just haven't really asked for anything. What I was sort of starting to work on with him prior to, he did a little bit of draw there, was like moving him and feeling confident moving him. Um, and so kind of like more being in a position behind him at moments to drive. So I did a little bit more of that tonight. Um, he definitely still is a close talker. And he is alone right now. The horse that he was being turned out with moved. So he'll probably end up being alone until we move him home in August. So yeah, he's better. He's also been a lot better about not touching with me with his teeth. um, just slowly, it's getting a little bit better and a little bit better. So here he was focused on me, so we were walking. He tried to kind of swing his head over a bit as he got close, so I just put my hands up there. I would say overall, I just feel a lot more comfortable around him. So here I just asked for a little bit of like bending and turning in a circle. Left is his much harder direction, so he stopped and focused off, but he was taking some nice steps, stepping more underneath himself with that left hind. I forgot to put his boots on today. I didn't think about it until I was like partway through videoing myself here. So now that we're kind of doing sessions again, I need to remember to bring his boots out as well. So yeah, he's really with me. He's pausing when I pause, and pretty happy to follow me. There he's just trying to touch me with his mouth, so I asked him not to. What I've been mostly doing with the Liberty is asking him to bend like that when he's following me. So I'll just do a small circle as he's following me and see if he's willing to bend and move in a small circle around me, which so far he is pretty. That's probably the easiest, my easiest option for getting him to kind of move himself and bend a little bit through his body. So I'm trying not to cluck in there. Tried to use a lot more body language. I'd still say I'm struggling a little bit in getting him to kind of have his own forward motion. So like I'll ask and then I kind of like, go back down to 0. And then there, like I asked again, like, hey, you're still not really walking off. So I'm wondering, when we talked last time about going from like a gentle ask to them being like, hey, you gotta go, what I can do more with my body to do that, because I think seen you mention in videos that you don't like to like touch with a whip. Um, that would normally be my go-to, is to like, if there's nothing happening, would be then to back up with like the touching with a whip. So here I'm just following along, trying to keep my energy low when I'm not making a request and asking to move on. And there I did. And then here I tried to follow him through the path, and then I realized that because I had followed in his steps, he did a small circle back, which was fun to see. And then here I realized he was going to go to the bathroom, so I gave him a moment to do that. He has kind of like changed direction based on where my body is. So if I step more in line behind him, he will kind of curve more around me, which is neat to see. And I did try it a little bit later in this video, and he wasn't paying attention. He just kept walking, which was fine. But that is one thing that's been kind of interesting, is seeing how he tracks me, and where I position myself, I can ask him to move a bit. So it was kind of neat to see there. That was accidental. I just was trying to make my way through those weeds right behind him, and he just turned right back around. So here I asked, you can see there's not a whole lot. Like, I feel like I'm doing a lot and he's not really responding a lot. So that's probably the one thing I would love your insight into, is how to make sure that my big reactions don't end up just him tuning it out because it doesn't mean so much to him. So here's actually when I kind of got more behind him, and instead of circling more to the left, he actually went right, which is fine. I asked him to move on. I'm trying not to cluck. It's really hard. It's definitely my go-to. And there he just got a little distracted by the lesson student in the next paddock. So I let him look, and then again asked him to move on. And then here again, I kind of like get more behind him to see if I can turn him a little bit. If he's kind of like tracking off my position, and he just kept moving on. So then I decided to ask for a little trot here. He was not expecting that. So that was quite exuberant. I think I surprised him a bit. You can't see it here, but he just turned around and looked at me like, what? He came back to be like, excuse me. That was a lot. He's definitely very curious and very playful, so I am eager to keep doing more work like this with him, because I think he does really enjoy it, and also to get him a friend. And again, he's, staying with me when we walk around the paddock together. Leading him has become like really not a problem at all. I'd say like when we're outside, he's trying to eat grass, and a lot of times I will let him graze, especially as he's been healing. It's like one of the few things he could do while he was on stall rest. He's not really great about listening to me when there's an option like food right in front of him. But for the most part, um, he's not like bouncing around behind me and like flying around. And leading in the paddock, like he just puts his face right into the big yawn there. He just puts his face right into the halter. Lots of releasing. So again, here I just circled back to see if I could get him to step underneath himself a little bit with that left hind, and he did a bit. Still yawning. It's funny to see in the video now because I missed a lot of that. And I circled back. I was going to ask him to move on, but he was still yawning. That was when I kind of noticed he had a lot going on, so just gave him a minute. More yawning. But yeah, I mean, I feel like, yeah, too much. He's very playful still. But he's so much more connected to me. Like, I mean, when I first messaged you, I was like, this horse hates me. And now I feel like we have a much better bond. And then here, too much. Nope, way too much. So just asked him to take a step. But I like that. The going straight up has been really useful with him because he does get, if he feels like I'm coming at him, he gets bigger rather than kind of being respectful. So here again, I just, nope, go away, let's move on. And here, let's do a little trot. Much better. So I pretty much let him be done with that. I just kind of wanted to come back to the trot and see if I could get a less explosive trot. More yawning. Yeah, so the other thing is I do want him moving more. I mean, he is definitely sound. He can be moving around. And in general, I know he doesn't move around a lot in this paddock by himself. There, I came over to just give him a scratch, and he got playful, so I let it go. When I do ask him for trot, that's basically as much as he wants to do, unless like before you saw him, he like bounds off, but then he very quickly just turns around and then is done. So my feeling on it was basically the same way with the walk. Like if he stops, then I could ask again. Like say he goes up to trot, but then he breaks to a walk. At that point, I could then like increase my energy and ask for more trot. But I was just wondering about that. He doesn't have a lot of natural desire to keep moving, which is probably why they retired him off the track as uncompetitive. But yeah, so that was basically our session.